Blessings everyone. In this video we are going to be doing a little bit of a breakdown of the 5 major astrological aspects. The conjunction, the opposition, the sextile, the square, and the trine. Probably not in that order. I'll see what order I put it in post. In observation of a lot of the new astrologers and the new astrology audience, there hasn't really been a whole lot of depth given to these aspects, right? A lot of this has just been kind of boiled down. Sextiles and trines good, and squares and oppositions bad. I was really disturbed by a few comments that I saw on a couple of my astrology videos this last month because I wasn't sure if this person was an astrologer themselves or the other person was just kind of, really shook by another astrologer because, in my astrology videos, I do break things down. I do know how to describe what I'm talking about. But these folks were really shaken up, and I was trying to read through their comments, and they were throwing out all kinds of astrology jargon and aspects and things like that, and it was kind of like trying to count Christmas tree lights on a tree while they were blinking, on a turnstile, spinning at 20 miles an hour, and on fire. There was no cohesion. It didn't make any sense, and I was thinking, how do I reply to this? To kind of ground the situation, and I just couldn't. It was just all over the place. They're not really helping anyone learn how to navigate these things at all. And when we understand and respect these tools, then we can also see where they are not scary, where they are not to be overhyped, and how specifically they will manifest their virtues when they occur. And so I figured, no, let's just make a video here and hopefully bring some sense back to this. When it comes to astrology aspects or major astrology aspects, let's talk about the strongest ones first. And those are, in order of strongest to second strongest, the conjunction and the opposition. Conjunctions occur when a celestial body, whether it's the sun, the moon, a planet, gets on the same degree, right? There's a 0-degree difference in any given space of the astrology chart, and those powers of those celestial bodies combine, and therefore you get sort of a mix of both flowing into that person's space, or maybe going into that person's chart, or being experienced throughout the entirety of the planet. So with conjunctions, it's actually a very neutral experience. Technically, all astrology is neutral, but the way it will feel is going to be highly situational. If you have, say, for instance, Venus conjunct Mars, you are getting a blend of the powers of Venus and the powers of Mars combined. So Mars is all about action, passion, and energy. It's the obstacle-clearing driving force, right? And you've got Venus, which is all about love, harmony, and affection. You've got a very amorous, very erotic, very passionate, and very sensual combination going on there, and this can go in all kinds of different directions. This can indicate a situation that is highly romantic and very sensual, or this can indicate a situation that is so passionate and so intense, it's a fire burning out of control. And sometimes you get kind of both, right? It's intensity, and so we need to be able to navigate the intensity of conjunctions with dignity, and that's usually the advice for all conjunctions. You've got extra power, stay grounded, right? A capable spiritual practitioner, an adept, is going to be able to stay grounded with their feet on the ground and their head in the heavens and their heart bridging both. And so when we have a conjunction like that, right, we have the intensity of Mars mixed with the emotion of Venus or the sensuality of Venus, you're going to get all good and bad, or easy and hard, of both planets all at once. And the same thing can happen with any kind of conjunction, and it really all depends on what you make of that experience and of that intensity, whether it's Mars and Venus, or it's the Sun and Mercury, or it's Saturn and Jupiter. It does not matter. But these conjunctions themselves are just an outpouring of really intense power, and they can be very advantageous, or they can be very treacherous. It really all depends on how you are handling something that delicate and that powerful at the same time. And this is also an aspect that has a strong ripple effect. So it affects more than just the house or the sign that it is occurring in. It tends to ripple out and hit all other spaces of the zodiac at once. Next, we have the opposition. There's a 180-degree angle being created here. So this could be, say, a full moon with the sun opposite the moon, or this could be Mercury opposite Mars, or Venus opposite Jupiter, however it's going to show up. But what happens with an opposition is two areas of life get activated at the same time. And so we are put at a crossroads with an opposition. One area gets the focus, gets the blessing, gets the power, gets the energy and attention, and the other one has to wait. And so what happens with, say, a Jupiter in the second house opposite Venus in the eighth house is that we have to choose. How are we going to navigate it? Maybe in that moment, we have to decide, are we going to take this vacation with a partner, or are we going to take this promotion at work? That is how oppositions work. Sometimes oppositions can show up in a way where, yes, conflict occurs. Say in an instance where you have Mars in opposition to Mercury, and there could be a conflict of interest that needs to be worked out at that point in time. And so you may have to choose whether or not to keep the problematic person in your life and save the project or the other friendship, or continue to tolerate the problematic person at the cost of the others. So now that we've got the big ones out of the way, let's talk about the mediums, the trines and the squares. Trines occur when a planet or a celestial body that is in one sign of a particular element is making a very harmonious connection to another celestial body in another sign of the same element, and both of them get lifted up at the very same time. They both receive a powerful blessing, a powerful boost at once. So two areas of our lives are turning on at the same time. Trines occur when a 120-degree angle, give or take an orb or two, is occurring between said celestial body and the other celestial body. So you will only have trines occur within similar element signs. So say, for instance, you've got Jupiter in Aries at the time of me, making this video, which means Jupiter will only trine planets in other fire signs, either Leo or Sagittarius, so long as Jupiter is in Aries. Same thing for Neptune in Pisces. Neptune will only trine other planets when they are in other water signs like Cancer or Scorpio. When you have a trine, it's kind of like this is lifting up at the same time as another one. It's a lucky break. And so when you look at your chart, or you're looking at your horoscope, or you're hearing about a trine, this is all about two areas of life turning on and lifting up at once. Squares occur when a celestial body in one sign is making a 90-degree connection or a 90-degree angle with another celestial body that is in a sign of the same category. So say a fixed sign squaring a fixed sign, or a mutable sign squaring a mutable sign. And squares create situations where both areas of the chart are requiring attention because good things or challenging things could be happening in them, but you've got to find a way to meet the needs of both sides at once. Both areas of the square require work, require investment, and require that attention. And so the challenge is making that work, right? Being in both places at once. A good example of a square taking place would be, say, for instance, Mars in your first house square the Sun in your fourth house. And so Mars is working on you in your first house. You're overcoming obstacles. You're, breaking blocks in your life. You might be doing really, really well when it comes to overcoming competition or clearing out unfinished business and really plowing ahead with all of your plans. But a square to your Sun in your fourth house means that it may be while you're doing all of this, some family matters or some household matters or living situation matters are also coming up and competing for your time and energy, and you are going to need to be able to distribute yourself in a way that is constructive. You don't have to choose which one makes it and which one doesn't, right? That would be an opposition. But you do need to find a way to make everything work at once, or else nothing's going to go forward. So squares are not cut and dry, good or bad. It's just that there is a challenge in meeting the needs of multiple priorities as they come up at once and are competing with each other. Lastly, in this video, I want to talk about sextiles. Sextiles occur when a celestial body in one sign is reaching over and making a very supportive, very harmonious connection to another celestial body in a complementary element. And so this can be where a celestial body in an earth sign reaches over and makes a 60-degree angle with a celestial body in a water sign, say for instance Virgo to Cancer or Virgo to Scorpio, because they are friendly to one another. Or perhaps an air sign to a fire sign, Aquarius to Aries or Aquarius to Sagittarius. And what happens with the sextile is you see that one aspect of life going through an interesting shift to the point where it reaches over and lifts up the quality of life in another part of the chart. So this is where worlds kind of collide in a good way. So let's say we have Mercury in your third house forming a very strong sextile to the sun in your first house. This is where somebody from your community, a helpful third party, a member of your peer group, could be hooking you up, right? The third house, this is about our close community. We could be getting hooked up with a job. We could be getting match made with a new love opportunity. Somebody could be opening a door for us or promoting us. You have help from one area of life changing the course in a good way for another. And that is how sextiles work. So I think that we're going to leave it here for the time being. I want to thank you all so much for dropping by. If you have any questions about, just what we've talked about in this astrology video, please let me know in the comments in the down bar below. And don't forget to, of course, like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, engagement helps all channels grow. And if you ever want to get a session with me, you can go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.